Hello and welcome to Perryco's Rant Corner. Today we're not going to do a game, we're going to do a movie. We're going to do a movie that everybody knows. And if you don't know, well, your life sucks and you're very sad. We're going to do a movie that one of Disney's big hits in the early 90s. No, not Aladdin, but you're close. I'll give you credit for that. I'm talking about The Lion King. Yes, on VHS. You don't see many of these anymore, but yes, The Lion King. If you don't know The Lion King, well, it pretty much starts off as Simba is being born into the kingdom of Africa, I'm guessing. Yes, Africa. Anyways, Simba is just a little cub, and he's apparently supposed to be king of the Africa. Yay. Anyways, it's very nice, very touching, because this baboon bastard holds him up, and apparently he's the chosen one. Okay, good. Then we get into the story. It seems that Mufasa, who is the king of the jungle or the forest or Africa, whatever you like to pronounce it as, is, he's the king, and he's a total badass. Why is he a badass, you say? One, he has a very deep voice. You know why he has a very deep voice? Because James Earl Jones plays him. And if you don't know who James Earl Jones is, just get the hell out of here. If you don't know, seriously, he plays Darth Vader. Come on now. Anyways, he's trying to show Simba what it's like to be king one day, and tells him he's going to have great responsibility. Well, it just so happens for Simba and his dad Mufasa that Mufasa has a brother. And this brother's name is Scar. Very interesting name, because Scar usually indicates that he has a scar, which I believe he does on his eye, much like Sub-Zero in Mortal Kombat. But, hey, he has a scar. Maybe he got in a fight. You never really know what he got the scar from. Well, Scar, just like every other brother, wants to take his big brother's spot as the king of the jungle, forest, Africa, whatever. Anyways, what does he do? He designs a little plan. What's he gonna do? He's just gonna throw his brother off a cliff, which he does, and he gets ran over by every single animal in Africa, but he's okay, he's still living, and he talks to Simba, and Simba is just like, hey, you gonna be okay? No, he's not, he dies. And what does Scar do? He pretty much blames it on Simba, and he tells Simba that if he doesn't get the hell out of here, he's gonna, well, kill him then. Okay, Simba goes, runs away, never talks to anybody ever again. So there's Simba. He meets two people. Well, not people, but animals, and Timon and Pumbaa. They sing a very famous song that everybody knows. It's very catchy and very happy and stuff, and Simba grows into a man in a matter of 30 seconds in the film. Okay, so he's a man-cat now, and he just so happens to meet a girl from his childhood. He meets the girl from his childhood, and they love each other. After all the 30 seconds of him growing up, they love each other. Okay, cool, touchy. Then he decides that he has to go back to face Scar and all the other lions. It just so happens in his absence that Scar and the hyenas have completely destroyed everything and pretty much are killing the lions off because there's no food because every animal's leaving. Alright, that sucks. Scar isn't the king of what he wanted to be, and he's, well, pissing everyone off. But can anybody do anything about it? No. So Simba goes back, pretty much demands his rightful place as the king of the jungle, and they get into a cat fight. Yeah. And Scar kind of gets his ass kicked a little bit, and he cheats, and he pretty much tells everyone that, Simba killed Mufasa. Which isn't true, but Simba believes that he killed him. This gives Scar the perfect opportunity to sneak attack Simba, and Simba nearly loses the fight, but Simba finds the inner power to defeat Scar. And when he defeats Scar, what does he do? He tells him to run. He doesn't finish him off, he just tells him to run. Scar tries running, but the hyenas find him. And the hyenas doesn't know what the hyenas do to him. They could have raped him, they could have killed him, they could have ate him. I don't really know. It doesn't show that. You would think he dies, because he's not in the second one. Anyway, Simba and his little girlfriend are, taking over to Africa, and they have a little baby at the end. Just like we began, but she's a girl this time. Overall, the plot of this movie is very solid. It's very touching, and you feel very connected to Simba. You feel very sad when Mufasa dies, obviously. Much like when Littlefoot's mom died in Land Before Time. Very similar. We don't know much about Simba's mother, though, except that she has a very deep voice and could pass off as a lesbian cat. Okay. We know much about Simba's uncle and Scar. Scar is the bad guy. Scar doesn't like his brother, and he doesn't like the fact that Simba will one day be the king and he will never have his chance. Scar looks nothing like his brother, and maybe he has a black mother, and that is why he's half black. I could not tell you. Anyways, you know, he decides to be friends with the hyenas because none of the other lions like him. The hyenas are like the bottom of the food chain, and often provide much comic relief. Other characters in the show, such as Zazu, and I don't even know the monkey's name, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. The monkey's really annoying, I really don't like anything he says. But Zazu is very cynical, and I do enjoy his presence on the film. Timon and Pumbaa are both very funny, but similar to most duos of character, there's the small one and the dumb one. The small one, Simone, is personally my favorite. Pumbaa, I really don't have feelings for, don't really care. But overall, the plot very follows through, and it's very typical. Like, there's a low point, the main character has to overcome his fears and do what's right, and he eventually does, and he lives happily ever after. And, you know, I can deal with that. There's a lot of famous songs on this beautiful movie that people know, such as Elton John's songs, you know, the Timon and Pumbaa song, the Simba and his girlfriend song. I mean, there's a lot of songs that people, like, if you heard, you would know. This is a fine example of why Disney was such a dominant force in the early 90s. Why don't they make more movies like this? What's wrong with them? Does every single movie have to be a Pixar? Just because Toy Story was a Pixar, which was very good, doesn't mean everything has to be Pixar. But that's neither here or there. This is about this movie. There are some interesting scenes in this movie, though, such as that infamous scene where Scar leads a Nazi rally. Yes, he does lead a Nazi rally, gentlemen. Whenever you see hyenas marching like this, doesn't mean they don't. First of all, they don't walk on 2 feet. Okay, they walk on 4 feet. And the fact that he's telling them they're gonna have this new reign and stuff sounds somewhat similar to Hitler. But that's just maybe me jumping to conclusions. I mean, Disney was anti-Semite, but I just jump into conclusions. You know, Simba, you see him grow up, and that really, you understand, because he comes back from a little innocent cub that's scared, doesn't have much confidence, into, well, the king of the jungle with much confidence and pride, like a lion should. It's like one of the better Disney movies I probably ever made, real honesty. This and Aladdin and the Beauty and the Beast really, like, when you were a kid watching these movies, really took a part of you. And kids today don't have that. Like, there's kids who probably don't know what the Lion King is. They're like, who? You know, stupid children. But, you know, hell, if every movie I watched was in Pixar, I wouldn't have much of an imagination either. Anyways, if I haven't watched this movie, I suggest you do. Timeless classic that I think will be famous for 50 years later to come. This is Perryco with you, talking about movies and other good stuff. And I'll be back next week with another one for you. And that's a wrap.